Continue reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 1, Text 3. Iti naha samuaha bhaga narayana gunan prati samsaya sumahan jatas tad bhavam chattum arhati. Srimad Bhagavatam by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. O greatly fortunate and learned Brahmana, whether Narayana is partial or impartial, has become a subject of great doubt, kindly dispel my doubt with positive evidence that Narayan is always neutral and equal to everyone. Since Lord Narayan is absolute, his transcendental qualities are described as one. Thus, his punishments and his offerings of favor are both the same value. Essentially, his inimical actions are not displays of enmity toward his so-called enemies, but in the material field, one thinks that Krishna is favorable to devotees and unfavorable to non-devotees. When Krishna finally instructs in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Saranam Vraja, this is meant not only for Arjuna but for every living entity within this universe. Sri Rishi Ruvacha Sadhu Prishtham Maharaja Hares Charitam Adbhutam Yad Bhagavata Mahatmayam Bhagavat Bhakti Vardhanam Giyate Paramam Punyam Rishibhir Naradadabhi Naradadibhi Natva Krishnaya Munayo Kathaisya Hare Katham. The great sage Sukadeva Goswami said, My dear king, you have put before me an excellent question. Discourses concerning the activities of the Lord, in which the glories of his devotees are also found, are extremely pleasing to devotees. Such wonderful topics always counteract the miseries of the materialistic way of life. Therefore, great sages like Narad always speak upon Srimad Bhagavatam because it gives one the facility to hear and chant about the wonderful activities of the Lord. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Srila Vyasadeva and then begin describing topics concerning the activities of Lord Hari. In this verse, Sukadeva Goswami offers his respectful obeisances Krishnaya Munaya, which means to Krishna Dvaipaina Vyash. One must first offer one's respectful obeisances to one's spiritual master, Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami's spiritual master is his father, Vyasadeva, and therefore he first offers his respectful obeisances to Krishna Dvaipaina Vyas and then begins describing topics of Lord Hari. Whenever there is an opportunity to hear about the transcendental activities of the Lord, we must take it. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends Kirtaniya Sadahari. One should always engage in Krishna Katha by chanting and talking about Krishna and hearing about him. That is the only occupation of a Krishna conscious person. Nirguno apihi ajo avyakto Bhagavan prakriter para swamaya gunan avishya Badhya Badhakatam Kata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu is always transcendental to material qualities, and therefore he is called Nirguna, or without qualities. Because he is unborn, he does not have a material body to be subjected to attachment and hatred. Although the Lord is always above material existence, through his spiritual potency he appeared and acted like an ordinary human being, accepting duties and obligations apparently like a conditioned soul. So-called attachment, detachment and obligations pertain to the material nature, which is an emanation from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But whenever the Lord descends and acts in this material world, he does so in his spiritual position. Although his activities materially appear different, spiritually they are absolute and non-different. Thus, it is an imposition upon the Supreme Lord to say that he is envious of anyone or friendly to anyone. In Bhagavad Gita 9:11, the Lord clearly says, Abhajananti mam mudha manusam tanum ashritam. Fools deride me when I descend in a human form. Krishna appears on this earth or within this universe without any change in his spiritual body or spiritual qualities. Indeed, he is never influenced by the material qualities. He is always free from such qualities. but he appears to act under material influence. This understanding is aropita, or an imposition. Therefore, Krishna says, Janma karma chame divyam, whatever he does, being always transcendental, has nothing to do with material qualities. Evam yo veti tattvataha, only devotees can understand the truth of how he acts. The fact is that Krishna is never partial to anyone. He is always equal to everyone, but because of his imperfect vision influenced by material qualities, one imposes material qualities upon Krishna. And when one does so, he becomes a mudha, a fool. When one can properly understand the truth, one becomes devoted and nirguna, free from material qualities. Simply by understanding the activities of Krishna, one can become transcendental, and as soon as one is transcendental, he is fit to be transferred to the transcendental world. Tyakta deham puna janma naiti mam etiso Arjuna. One who understands the activities of the Lord in truth is transferred to the spiritual world after he gives up his material body. Sattvam rajas tama iti prakartera natmano gunaha na tesam yugapad rajan hrisaha ulahasa evava. My dear King Parikshit, the material qualities Sattoguna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna all belong to the material world and do not even touch the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These three gunas cannot act by increasing or decreasing simultaneously. The original position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is one of equality. There is no question of his being influenced by Sattoguna, Rajoguna or Tamoguna, for these material qualities cannot touch the Supreme Lord. The Lord is therefore called the Supreme Ishvara, Ishvara Paramakrishna. He is the Supreme Controller. He controls the material qualities. Daivi hi aise gunmayi mama maya durataya. Maya dhaksanena prakriti suyate. Material nature, Prakriti, works under his order. How then can he be under the qualities of Prakriti? Krishna is never influenced by the material qualities. Therefore, there is no question of partiality in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jaya kale tu satvasya devarsin rajaso asuran tamaso yaksa raksamsi tat kalanu guna abhajat. When the quality of goodness is prominent, the sages and demigods flourish with the help of that quality with which they are infused and surcharged by the Supreme Lord. Similarly, when the mode of passion is prominent, the demons flourish, and when ignorance is prominent, the Yaksasas and Raksasas flourish. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is present in everyone's heart, fostering three reactions of Sattoguna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is not partial to anyone. The conditioned soul is under the influence of the various modes of material nature, and behind material nature is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But one's victory and loss under the influence of Sattoguna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna are reactions of these modes, not of the Supreme Lord's partiality. Srila Jiva Goswami in the Bhagavata Sandarbha has clearly said, Sattva dayo na santi se yatra cha prakrata guna sa sudha sarva sudhebhya pumam adhya prasidatu haladini sandini sambityakta eka sarva samistato halada tapakari misra twai no guna varjite. According to this statement of the Bhagavad Sandarbha, the Supreme Lord, being always transcendental to the material qualities, is never affected by the influence of these qualities. These same characteristics is also present in the living being, but because he is conditioned by the material nature, even the pleasure potency of the Lord is manifested in the conditioned soul as troublesome. In the material world, the pleasure enjoyed by the conditioned soul is followed by many painful conditions. For instance, we have seen that in the two great wars which were conducted by the Rajoguna and Tamoguna, both parties were actually ruined. The German people declared war against the English to ruin them, but the result was that both parties were ruined. Although the Allies were apparently victorious, at least one on paper. Actually, neither of them were victorious. Therefore, it should be concluded that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not partial to anyone. Everyone works under the influence of various modes of material nature, and when the various modes are prominent, the demigods or demons appear victorious under the influence of these modes. Everyone enjoys the fruits of his qualitative activities. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 14:11-13. Sarva dwaresu dehasmin prakas upajayate gyam yadha tata vidyat vivirdham sattvamiti uto lobha prabritir arambha karmanam asama spriha rajasi etani jayanti vivirdhe bharat sarabha aprakaso pravrittischa pramado moha evacha tamasi etani jayante vivirdhe kuru nandana. The manifestations of the modes of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illumined by knowledge. O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, uncontrollable desire, hankering, and intense endeavor develop. O son of Kuru, when there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, madness, illusion, inertia, and darkness are manifested. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present in everyone's heart, simply gives the results of the increase in various qualities, but he is impartial. He supervises victory and loss, but he does not take part in them. The various modes of material nature do not work at all once. The interactions of these modes are exactly like seasonal changes. Sometimes there is an increment of Rajoguna, sometimes Tamoguna, and sometimes Satoguna. Generally, the demigods are surcharged with Sattva-guna, and therefore when the demons and the demigods fight, the demigods are victorious because of the prominence of their Sattva-guna qualities. However, this is not the partiality of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna.